Okay, so when it comes to the next point macOS update, which is a 0.4 by the way of macOS Ventura or macOS 13, it has been released. And if we go into our system preferences here, you can see the update size for me here on my MacBook Pro. It comes in at exactly 11.77 gigs, and it's quite a substantial and large file. And the reason for this is because I actually hadn't been testing it during the beta stages, so this is for the first time that I'm going to be updating to it, and I'm coming from macOS 13.3 to this newly released macOS 13.4. Now the download file size did just jump up substantially. You can see it went to 12.88 gigs, and this is not all that Apple is going to be releasing. Alongside this, there's also iOS 16.5 as well as iPadOS 16.5. There's also going to be watchOS 9.5 as well alongside this, and tvOS 16.5. so most of those updates I will be covering here on the channel, and if you want to follow along, hit like and subscribe so that you won't miss out. Since I've already updated my device, if we go into settings of our device here and go to where it says general and try to do a software update, it should be able to tell us that we are up to date and provide us the current build number. You can see we are on macOS Ventura 13.4, and the build number we have here is 22F63. so that's the build number that's here with this update. And now let's look at some of the cool new features or changes that this update has to offer. The first one, if we go into the Apple News app that you see here, open it, you can see when you open it up for the first time, you are going to get a simple pop-up screen. I've done this before, so I cleared the pop-up screen, but here you can see the pop-up screen mentions or adds a Apple Sports section here. Now this section is basically a feed that you can always access here through the sidebar, and you can see here, depending on where you are, your country or your region, it will have things that it automatically auto-populate. You can see, since I'm in Canada, NBA is a big thing here, and your Toronto Raptors is a big thing. I don't follow any of these are recommendations, but if you don't like what you are seeing here, you do have the options to select a specific niche. For example, if you want the UEFA Champions League or the English Premier League, you can select that, or if you want the Spanish La Liga or the Italian Serie A, you can select that, and it actually has pretty good information. For example, if we go here where it says the Champions League, it takes a moment to load, but you can see the information or the news that you get does pertain somewhat to the Champions League, and you can see some of the injuries, because Manchester City and Real Madrid are the two big dogs, right? So most of the stories that you can see here do pertain to those teams. And if you were to choose another league of your own or follow certain clubs, then you can always do that through the top corner, or you can click here where it says get started, and then you can start to follow clubs and start to follow certain leagues in your region, and you'll be able to get those notifications that are catered for you when it comes to this update. An unfortunate update or change that's here with macOS 13.4 and possibly future updates of macOS has to do with the way we'll be interacting and being able to update and unenroll from developer or public beta seeds. So with this macOS 13.4, the terminal command that you'll be able to do as a sudo or super user do, that was seed util, is no longer supported on macOS 13.4. so this means you cannot use terminal to unenroll from a developer or public beta, meaning that you should just think twice or give it some serious thought before jumping or just putting your device on a beta if you use it on a daily. If we go into our system preferences and go to where it says general and go to software update, you can see that this page has been updated here. Now if you click where it says beta updates, you can see there, you'll be able to get the information. And here it says receive beta updates on this Mac and provide feedback to help make Apple software even better. So here you can see it has my Apple ID account listed here, and if you have a different one, you can always use it here. But you can see if you have a macOS beta profile, you can select it there, which is the case for me, and this is one that you do have to pay for, unfortunately. But you can see if you want the public beta as well, and you have your Apple ID enrolled in the public beta, you can do that. Or if you don't want the betas, you can just simply say off when it comes to this update. Before, you'll be able to have your profiles that you have installed. Some could be third party that you've downloaded from other sites, others could be Apple issued, but now it is associated or attached to your Apple ID, and that is how you are going to be able to receive developer or public beta updates going forward. Now, this doesn't really pertain to macOS entirely, but since it pertains to Final Cut Pro, an application that's used by many creators today, which by the way has always been available on Mac exclusively, but now you can see on this page that we've just loaded, this is one of Apple news updates that they released earlier on. It has to do with Final Cut Pro, and you can see that Final Cut Pro for iPad is now a reality. It's something that's official, and this is going to be starting pretty soon. You can see that this is going to be available starting on May 23rd, and it's going to be 1 month for free, and then you have to pay $7 per month or a $70 annual subscription fee. And this is something that's pretty cool. I actually thought that Apple was going to reserve this until we get to WWDC 2023, where they talk about, iOS 17 and iPadOS 17, where this would be one of the big features, but they decided to push it out in a silent way, which is a bit odd. Now, this update does resolve quite a number of issues, and the first one has to do with firewall and application content filters. So if you use third-party applications like Radio Silence or Snitch, and you're having issues with your firewall and connectivity, after you update macOS 13.4, this should be a resolved issue. This update fixes an issue where keyboards like my Magic Keyboard that you see here were having issues connecting after restarting your device. So macOS 13.4 resolves that issue. If you go into our system settings and go to Touch ID and password, this feature, if it's one that you use where it allows you to use your Apple Watch to unlock your applications and your Mac, this was having some issues before. If it's something that you use and you update, that issue has been resolved with this update. And also, if you use voice over accessibilities and you are having issues navigating around, that issue has also been fixed with this update. Now, there's also a fix where screen time wasn't being able to show or update through the various applications that you might have been using it for, and that issue has been fixed with this update. Now, when it comes to macOS 13.4, there is going to be an Apple security update on this website here, so keep an eye on it and you'll be able to see what it is that macOS 13.4 is patching up when it comes to keeping your device safe, and some of the other mentioned and notices that have reported major issues here on this website. This is the calendar that you can see, and you can see that we are just a few weeks away, to be specific, about 3 weeks away from WWDC 2023. It's going to take place on June 5th, and that is when we are going to get the first view of macOS 14, the first beta, alongside other major updates like iOS 17 and so on. So if that is something that you are interested in and you want to be able to see how you can update and what are the changes of macOS 14 or iOS 17, then definitely do hit like and subscribe so that you won't miss out when those updates come out, because yeah, there is going to be a lot to unpack. Now, that's about it for me when it comes to this update. A simple but a safe update, if you ask me, when it comes to macOS 13.4. Let me know what you think about this video, and stay safe, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.